Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting Radio, EB Radio. EB Radio. Your station for empowerment presents Mom Boss Talk Radio, a show that brings real life, real moms, and real experiences to empower mom bosses everywhere to be ambitious, highly driven, fierce, fabulous, and fearless. Mom Boss Talk Radio begins now.
Welcome, mom bosses all over the world. It's another amazing Thursday, and you guys know what that means. That means it is time for another great discussion with the mom bosses. We are so excited that you are joining us. This show is Mom Bosses, bringing you real life, real experiences to empower you as a mom boss. And I am one of your hosts, Jerisha Moore-Smith, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Mayetta. Yay!
Hey, this is super exciting because the topic is, I think, something that is very powerful, especially once you get into a certain point in your career. It is leveraging your networks, okay? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience. Okay, I went to an amazing networking event, and I'm not going to lie, I was nervous. Okay, you know why? Because it was my first one. It was my first networking event, but it was so amazing just seeing a room full of entrepreneurs and just people who have the same mindset of business and, success. It felt so good. And it kind of, put that into a great perspective of not only building a strong network, but how to leverage it properly and making the proper connections to be able to not only elevate yourself, but the people around you. So I know I've done this. This is like my first event. But Jerisha, I know you've been to plenty of events. Okay, so how do you leverage networking?
Yes, so I love networking, y'all. I absolutely love it. I love connecting. And I'll tell you, similar to, your experience, my very first networking event, I was so nervous because I didn't really know what to expect. It just so happened to be it was a round table, so it was like a luncheon. And I was like, okay, I didn't know what to expect. Okay. So there wasn't like an agenda beforehand or anything like that. And so I went into it and I was like, okay, I'm just going to have a plan of, connecting, meeting people, and go from there. And I will tell you that even my first experience was pretty amazing. It was amazing to be able to connect with someone, to be able to learn more about them, hear, if you will, like their elevator pitch, and then also share my own. And so that was the one thing that I learned from that very first experience, is knowing there are certain pieces that before you even go to a networking event, you need to make sure you're prepared. I did know that I needed to bring my business cards and all of that good stuff. But when it came down to someone asking, what is it that you do? It's one of those things that you know what you do, but to share it with someone else. So I had to really work on that elevator pitch and, not drawing it out. And then, of course, at the network event, what happened was they took the mic, and the mic went around for people to stand up and say more about their business and all that. Those that were new. And I was like, oh my gosh, if it just, I was like, okay, I was already nervous, but then to stand up and tell the whole entire room about myself, what, my business was. But afterward, it was okay. I remember I got several great connections. And that's the thing. I think when we go to these networking events, yes, it's, some of us have never been to networking events. So we're not necessarily like, we don't know what to expect. But once you go there, I would honestly recommend making sure you're prepared. Bring your business cards. Be prepared to share more about yourself. It's one of those things that they don't know you. And sometimes it can be awkward depending on what networking event you're going to. But you're there to meet and connect with someone, to learn more about them, and so that you can share a little bit more about yourself, and then so you guys can exchange information to then connect again. So
Yeah.
the way that I have really, oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think my biggest thing, I think what helped me a little bit because I was still nervous was because I was doing a lot of networking on LinkedIn. So I was connecting with people. And I think what kind of throws me off is asking the correct questions or like is how
Mm,
to introduce yourself and like what questions to ask without making it feel like you're trying to use them. So I think that's where my issue always or what stops me is because it's like I don't want to feel pushy. I don't want to feel like I don't want them to feel like I'm using them for anything. Even though
mhm,
typically networking, you want to be able to utilize other people's, um, you know, positions, I guess, to be able to navigate to get where you want to be. Everybody's kind of using everybody in a sense, but you don't want it
mhm,
to feel that way. And you want to also kind of build some type of relationship with these people, like a business ship. It doesn't have to be best friends,
yes,
but like you want to build some
absolutely.
type of connection where it's not going to always feel businessy. And I think that's where it always stops. I always cower in that kind of fear of like, I don't want them to feel like I'm just talking to them to use them. That's-
Yeah, yeah,
so how do you
yeah.
combat that?
That's good. That's good. I mean, that's a good question too, because so when I first, my very first event, I was just super nervous because I was like, okay, is it going to be awkward? Like, there's all these things. And I feel like we even talk ourselves out of going to networking events because, I mean, if
Mm,
you're introverted, there's so many different things that people just find to say, I'm not going. But once you're there, you have to realize that, this may be someone else's first time coming to the networking event as well, and depending on how it's structured. So I think depending on the structure of the networking event, it may be easier to connect with someone. It may be harder and a challenge to connect with people and a little more awkward. So if it's just like everyone's
yeah,
just in a room and go find someone to connect with, then that's a little more challenging. The ones that I have been a part of and that I've been able to go to, and I've been able to go to both, but have been structured in a way where you're able to sit down at a table, and it makes it a little more easier to have that conversation with someone that's right
yeah,
next to you. They also have different things where they give you like little keys and little, I guess like a little key to follow, like, oh, these are ideal questions, and that like at each table. So it really depends, and it may be like an icebreaker, if you will, where you're able to find out more to kind of break the ice so everybody is feeling a little more comfortable and off the edge. Um, but honestly speaking, I can definitely say that just in the networking events that I've attended, um, I can understand how, you don't want to come off as though, someone feels like you're using them and all of that. But you have to look at it as you're trying to get information. So you don't know if that person that you're connecting with, that may be the big break that you need for your business. They may be able to provide a resource to you. And so, but you don't know that until you open up your mouth and have a conversation with them. From again, it can be several different questions that you ask just to start the conversation. Yes, you can feel awkward. There are times that I have felt awkward at events and asking questions, and if once they share who they are, what business they have, or what business their organization they represent, then you
yeah,
know more information, and you can always get their information to then set up that time and all of that. I think for me, the way that when I think about leveraging your network to really to build and to grow, it's it's almost like after you've already had that initial conversation. So after you've visited networking events and gotten a list of business cards or contacts to where you can then follow up with them. That is the thing that I think that a lot of us kind of get stuck on is, what do I
mm,
do now? After
yeah,
I've been to the networking event, I have all these business cards, and then I'll tell you that it is to me it's very what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe frustrating for me
Mm.
when I go to a network event and give business cards, connect with people, and then I'm the one that is doing the reaching out afterward. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many business cards I have given out just over the course of just attending, network events over the years, and it seems like I'm the only one that is reaching out, wanting to connect. So it's almost though people are going to networking events just to collect business cards. Now, I don't
Yeah.
know about y'all, but I don't want to collect business cards just for the sake of collecting business cards. The way
Exactly.
I feel like we really leverage our network is by actually building. So you can't build if you just have that initial conversation at the event or whatever you connected or wherever you connected at, and then not have another follow up coffee, a follow up um, lunch,
Like
whatever
lunch.
it may
Yeah.
be. Yes, you have
Yeah.
to be able to have that. I mean, because you don't know enough about that
Mm.
person or the business at that time. So I think it's always good if you're going to collect a business card to follow up with the email. Hey, it was nice. It was nice to meet you. I would love to set up a day and time for us to have coffee to learn more about your business and how we can support each other. Those are some
Yeah.
different things. But I'll tell you, I think that the way that we really leverage our network is by first, following those steps and kind of going through there. And then if you already have a network, then that's great because what I'll tell you is when you have a network, you have to know that uh, building and cultivating your connections and your network does not happen overnight. I
Mhm.
know a lot of us like to think that, but it takes time. It definitely
Yeah.
takes time when you're networking. I mean, we're all busy. Okay. We all have 50 million things going on. We all have families and, we're all super busy. And so that's why I think that, and I also think that after you go to a networking event, you should be reaching out within a certain amount of time to connect with that person
Yeah.
afterward to set up a time with them. Because how can you network? I mean, how can you leverage your network if you're not even trying to build it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what are
Exactly.
your thoughts
And
about it?
something like always trying to like if you're an introvert, because I'm an introvert, and being in spaces for a long time can really give me high anxiety, and I will shut down. So
Mm,
giving yourself like a goal. For instance, if you're like, okay, if I at least have a discussion with 3 people, I will do great. So give yourself a limit. Give yourself, um, just that, so that way you won't feel too overwhelmed and it won't be a daunting task and you'll be less
yeah.
stressed. So like giving yourself, small goals to tackle in each event that you go to, especially if you're kind of in the same area, you're probably going to end up seeing the same people anyway. Then you're going to get
Mm,
more and more comfortable because now you spoke to so many people that now the faces are recognizable, and now you
yeah.
you feel a little less stressed, and you ultimately met your goal of speaking to pretty much everybody in the room, especially if you do it over time. Um,
Mhm.
so I think that'll be a great thing for people who are high anxiety, stress, but still want to at
Mhm.
least try to step out of that zone. Also, be like an active listener when you're speaking to people. I'm that type
Yeah.
of person anyway. I don't, if I don't know you, I'm not really going to be too talkative. So I'm going to listen. And that's just by nature. But just to kind of understand who that person is and kind of get a feel of their personality. Um, so that way you can know if this is an individual that you want to continue to work with and possibly network with. And then if also you're going into a space and you know what industries that will, be beneficial for you, then you just target the people who are in certain industries. So that way you won't be overloaded with a whole lot of people, and you can kind of tailor, your networking to the people that you can benefit, you can help benefit, and they can benefit you. So
Mhm.
like you have to kind of start creating a list, a list to be able to
Yeah.
help yourself in the mental space when you go to these functions. Even though I went to my first one, it's not my first time networking. I've done it online. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's completely different doing it in person. I've met a lot of great people across the U.S. networking, and it was more from, and also too, if you're not wanting to be in that professional space yet, and you want to start off with something a little more informal, just go online, like Instagram. I've met a lot of
Yeah.
people on Instagram, and I've networked through there, and I can consider, they comment on my stuff, we have conversations, and we're building those relationships, and you can start there and find people who suit your industry, and then you become
Yeah.
friends, and then you can be able to help each other out. I've had people post stuff for me without me even asking, because we have a connection, we've built something over time. So I think that's amazing. So for those introverts who are needing that that space, you can also start informal to leverage, and then you can move on to the more professional settings. And then two, write down questions. It's okay to pull
Yeah.
out a card or two. If you have to, write some questions down. Um, and then that will tell the other person, like, oh my goodness, they're trying. They're probably scared, and they're trying, and they'll probably try to make you feel as comfortable as possible. So there's a lot of ways to kind of get around it, because you're gonna have to do it one way or another. You're gonna have to.
Yeah. I agree.
So I hope those
Yeah.
tips
Yeah.
are
Networking
helpful.
is very important.
Hmm.
I don't think we realize just how important networking is. And I don't think we even realize not just how important it is, but how having that network helps you in your, especially in your business, because we need to have that network. We need to have that team. We need to have. I think it's that quote that says, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others." And so you
Yeah.
just never know who you may connect with, and that's the key thing is being able to build that network. My goodness, when I tell you, it just opened my eyes on, for it's just a whole new level of just being able to connect with people all over the world, and not just on a local scale, because yes, there are network events that are locally, but there are also like virtual events that you can go to that is networking, where you can connect with people all over the world. And to me, both have so much value. Both is very important. And at the same
Yeah.
time, you're not going to know. Yes, you can, be nervous and everything else, but the best way to overcome that is to actually do it. So to go to a
Yeah.
networking event, to jump out there, put yourself out there. And again, whether you have a business, whether you're in a 9 to 5, you still need to be networking and connecting with other people. It is so important. It is so important. And I love how you share how some of the platforms that you've utilized, because I feel like on
Yeah.
every platform that is what it's designed for, on so
Mhm.
many different scales. So I mean, there's just different levels and different things that go along with it. But all of
Yeah.
them, I mean, it doesn't matter what platform, whatever platform is your preference or your choice. Get on there, connect with people, connect. And the one thing I will say, if you want to grow your business, there's no way that you can begin to grow without networking, period. It's just
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
possible. I love this subject of networking because I know networking has helped me in so many different ways in my own business. It has helped me really kind of, level up, if you, if you will, on so many different levels, even from a personal growth side of things. Because as I share, when I first started this whole networking thing, I was like, what in the world? Like, I was so nervous about it until I just was like, you know what? As that time went on, my nerves went away. And yeah, sometimes you're gonna say the wrong things. It is what it is. You're not the only one that's
Yeah.
nervous, but you don't know until you get out there and jump in. So this networking
Yeah.
thing is so very good. Anything else that you want to add or share about networking?
Just if you do go and you have a friend, take a friend. That will definitely ease your your nervousness. You'll have somebody to talk to. and you'll be able to, walk up to people together and have a conversation. But you definitely going to have to do it. Start small if you need to with platforms that you already probably utilize, such as Facebook and Instagram. And I love me some Instagram, honey. So
Mm.
I'm always on it. So definitely, start small and work your way up. You know, it'll be fine. Take a deep breath, smile, and just have a conversation. You'll be great.
Have the conversation. That's it right there. Just have the conversation.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
goodness. So absolutely. And again, when we talk about networking, it's not just about, those that, meeting new people. Often we have people that we're connected to already that we can, reach out to that we haven't. So it's reaching
Yeah.
out to the people that maybe we've lost contact with, or, those that we're, a part of a group and we have not even had a conversation with them. They already share the same interests, and, we have the same background or whatever it may be. You have some,
Mhm.
similarities with some other people. And so if you reach out to, someone like that, then you are able to find out more about them and, potentially be able to help and support each other. Let's see, what other tips can we share with, the women out here who's looking to really network and really try to leverage their networking. I would say also, networking is not it's something that you're always going to do. So it's not like I'm going to attend, a couple of events and then I'm not going to go to any other events. You're always going to be networking, always going to
Yeah.
be networking. Always try to, if you're on virtual, be prepared. Have something kind of written out. I know I did that in the past, where I had a little bit down already, that I could share and would not, like notes, if you will, that you can refer to, so you don't leave out. Especially if you do a lot of stuff like how I do, then you want to have at least be able to share, the different pieces that you do and all of that. Besides that, I think that, like you said, you just need to be willing to do it. Put your
Exactly.
fears aside and be willing to do it, and really try to develop and build those meaningful connections and those relationships, because ultimately that's what we want. We want success in building our networking. And so the way that you really leverage that is by making sure that you're building meaningful connections, and not just that, one conversation here and there, but being able to be
Mhm.
consistent with connecting with people and checking in and, sharing different things. And so that's good. I'm so excited that we had this conversation
Exactly.
because I really enjoyed that event that we went to. And I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to other events that's up and coming. So before we close out, again, is there anything else that you wanted to add, to share to the mom bosses all over the world?
Make sure, this is going to be a mental health tip, okay, for when
Mm.
you start going out and, doing the professional networking events. Once you start getting into it, take breaks and recharge, okay? Because
Mhm.
don't you can always keep going and going and going, but definitely take breaks and recharge. Understand, start asking yourself questions of what did I learn at this event? Who did I meet at this event? Kind of, you know, do like a summary of the events, and just but definitely take breaks and recharge, and then go into those events powerful, strong, head up, because you know what you want, and you just have to go in there and demand presence, okay? You are something special, and you should go in there with your head held high and have those conversations, because you're going to build those lasting relationships, and it's going to make your business go farther. It's going to make your circle bigger, and you're going to probably have tons and tons of friends that you probably didn't think you would have. Okay, so
Mhm.
definitely, mental health first, always.
Absolutely. Well, with that, it's always another amazing show. We can share information. The last thing that I'm going to leave you all with is the fact that networking is an investment in your business. And we have to think about it like that. It takes time, And when it's done correctly, it can truly yield great results for years and years and years to come. And so, with that being said, we are so glad that you've tuned in. We are Mom Bosses on a mission to empower moms all over the world. Mom Bosses, remember to be ambitious, highly driven, fierce, fabulous, and fearless. You are making moves, and you got this, sis. Have a good evening, y'all.
Thank you for joining us on Mom Boss Talk Radio. Follow each of the Mom Bosses on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you love Mom Boss Radio, visit the website at www.envisionedbroadcasting.com. We'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.